Welcome to Word to Ownership. My name is Wes. Today we're going to continue with our segment. We call this segment The Call to Ownership. What I've been doing here is calling out families out of renting towards ownership. I feel that too many people are renting, especially in the Black community. The level of home ownership is very low, and I think something needs to be done about that. And I don't know exactly what to do, but I think it's good to start somewhere. So I'm making those very simple videos as my way of doing my part. Today we're going to the state of Alaska. But before we go to the state of Alaska, I want to ask you for a quick favor. Please, just take 1 second and subscribe to this channel. It will be greatly appreciated. Before I talk about Alaska for a while, I want to say a few things here. I know some of you who will discover this video are somewhat much more advanced than the population that I want to speak to as far as knowledge of investments and pretty much knowledge of investments. One thing I want you guys to understand is that different people live in different risk level. You know, some people are more conservative, some folks are moderate risk level, and some folks are very risky. Most of my advice is pretty based on a moderate risk level. Okay, that's why I said I believe your very first serious investment should be in a house, because of stability. You know, it has to do. You can only give advice based on your own temperament, based on your own belief, based on your own strategy. You cannot give advice based on somebody else's strategy. Now, if you are somebody with a higher risk profile who's listening to this, you probably say, you know what, people should not buy a house. They should take the money and invest it in something very risky. They can become rich quicker. They're already poor. They can, you know, it doesn't make any difference. But this is not what I'm doing here. All I'm doing here is addressing people that's been waiting for a long time to put them in a different paradigm, in a different mindset. And my approach is a moderate risk approach, because this is my temperament. This is my approach to investing or wealth building. The state of Alaska, you know, is one of the, I would say, smaller size state in population. It's the 49th most populous in the country. You know, its population is not quite 1 million people yet. Yeah, so Alaska has so much land, but the population itself is not that big. The average price of a house in the state of Alaska is $300,000, so it's still fairly expensive. The national average is, as you know, is $374,000. These are current numbers. You know, in I would say fourth quarter 2021, the ownership rate for the state is 65.6%, with the national average quite actually the same. When it comes to Blacks and African Americans in the state of Alaska, the ownership rate is only 39%. Now, the cost of living in Alaska is very high. It's 125.8 compared to 100%, which is the national index. So it's somewhat expensive to live in the state of Alaska. Okay, now the bell has rung. It's time for me to speak to anybody in the state of Alaska who's renting. Now, I don't know what's going on in your life. You know, you have your life, and I am coming from a distance, you know. My message is consistent, and I intend to make these videos for every state, you know. So if you don't see this one, if you see the next state, it's pretty much going to be the same message. If you see the next city, you know, or the next small town that I talk to, it's going to be the same message. All I'm doing here, I am looking for people that's been renting for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Okay, folks who've been working full-time jobs all this time. They don't have any major situations that keeping them in this renting lifestyle. You know, especially folks that are raising children. Okay, all I'm telling them is that, you know what, maybe this path you renting all these years, maybe it was not the best thing to do. Okay, maybe you should have, made the effort to learn about how you can acquire a home if you think it's difficult. Okay, that's pretty much my message. Okay, because I feel the level of home ownership in this country, in this land of opportunity, where there are loans that pretty much designed to support home ownership, I feel the home ownership rate in the country should be at least 80%. Okay, I also feel that for Blacks and African Americans, the home ownership rate is too low. It's about 42%, or even 40%. I feel that's too low because home ownership itself is the primary level of wealth for the working class. So I feel too many people in the working class continues to rent. I'm not sure. I'm not an expert here. I'm not sure of why or what's the reason. I think it might be because some of them believe they cannot own a house, because owning a house is such a big deal. Okay, and I think they are wrong. Okay, I think some of them probably receive advice from friends, probably tell them, buying a house is not, the best path to do. You can save your money or whatnot, and I think that's completely wrong. The U.S. government just printed $7 to $8 trillion in less than 2 years. So if you're saving your money in the bank, you're doing the wrong thing. So this is the intention here. My intention here is to call families out of rentalship towards ownership. And today, I'm talking to the folks in the state of Alaska. This is my message. It's pretty simple. It's pretty consistent. And the purpose is to increase the amount of families who own a house, who can build somewhere, who can give the children, another vision, the possibility that they don't have to be renting, in their lifetime, that they can actually become homeowners too. Okay? This was a message for the state of Alaska. Thank you.